What's up, everybody? It's good to be back. If you didn't notice, I took the last 2 days off or so. Went to a concert Friday night, which was a lot of fun. Went to Chicago yesterday to celebrate St. Patrick's Day, watched the big St. Patrick's Day parade with some family, which was great. It was a great time. And took a couple days off there. But I'm back, and I want to talk about some moves that the Chiefs have made since I last spoke about free agency. Free agency kind of dies down a little bit after the first 2 or 3 days of action. There's a lot of movement going on those first couple of days. And then a lot of these things are more under the radar moves, moves that don't get a lot of publicity, but still important, still meaningful moves, and I want to talk about those here today. So the first guy I want to talk about, the Chiefs signed, is running back Demercado. He is from the Arizona Cardinals, kind of a backup role for them. He's going to be a similar role for us, I believe. Demercado feels like he's going to be Kenneth Walker's kind of primary backup. I don't think he's a workhorse back. I've talked about how I feel like they're going to do a two-back set a lot, kind of a two-headed monster. Kenneth Walker is the first head of that monster. I do not think Demercado is the second head of that monster. I think Demercado fills the role of if Walker were to get hurt, if he were to go down, if he has to come out for a couple plays, on a drive or something, and you need somebody to fill that role, he kind of fills the Walker role. He's better on outside zone runs. He is a very underrated pass catcher. I don't think he's your typical 1-2 punch back, a bruiser type. Doesn't seem to fit that role really. So I think it's a nice signing. It's a pretty cheap signing. It feels more like an insurance policy for Walker if he were to get hurt or go down for a little bit, that he could step in and fill that role adequately. So I like the move, but I don't think it's the solution to the second head of the monster at running back. I've heard some people talking about Kareem Hunt coming back. I'm not against Kareem Hunt coming back, but I don't think Kareem Hunt is the answer to the second head of the monster either. I don't. He's older. He's going to be 30 years old. He's good on those short down situations, but I don't think that's the answer. If you want to sign him back as the alternative to the second guy, like the guy to go with Walker as his backup, I'm all for that. If you want to have 4 guys, 2 starters, and then of course your 2 guys backing them up, that's what I would do. So I don't think Kareem is the answer there as your full-time guy with Walker. He feels like more of a backup option at this point. So that's just how I kind of interpret that. But I did like the Demercado signing. I thought it's a good signing, pretty cheap signing, and he fills a role, fills a need. So I like it. Yesterday, also, we got news that Mike Caliendo, Mike Caliendo is coming back. He resigned here. He took less money to stay here in Kansas City. He had other offers from other teams. He took less money to stay here. And I hear a lot of Chief fans complaining, "Oh, we don't like Mike. We want to go somewhere different. We don't want to have him back here again." It's a good signing. It's a good signing. I mean, this is a guy who has experience. He's played in the league. He's fairly versatile. He can play couple different roles for you on the line. If he needs to play center, he can play center. If he needs to play either guard position, he can play either guard position. He's a versatile guy. And he's willing to take less money. He wanted to be here. He said, "I am willing to take less money here in Kansas City than if I went to other places." That says something to me. So I'm totally fine with Mike Caliendo coming back. Again, it's a cheap deal. It doesn't hurt you anything. So I'm for it. I like it. It's good to see Mike back on the team. Totally for it. Another move the Chiefs made was Kader, I'm going to mess up his name, Kader Kohou, I believe is his name. I mentioned him briefly a couple days ago. He's the cornerback from Miami. He's injured. He had an injury last year, missed most of the year. He is coming in here, what I would interpret to be kind of the role of Trent McDuffie. Now, this doesn't mean that this is the solution. I think this is just another guy. This is a guy that you have that when he's played, has played well. He's a very aggressive, very physical type of slot cornerback. Fits the McDuffie role, and I think that's what he's going to be used for. Again, that does not mean they won't draft another slot corner. That doesn't mean they're not going to address that position anymore. But it's a nice kind of a prove-it contract. We'll see what he does. We'll see if he's healthy, if he can get back here and get back to where he was at a playing level. We'll kind of wait and see. But I like the signing. Again, fills a need. We have a lot of needs, and it fills a need. Totally for it. The other move, Drue Tranquill. He is coming back. Again, he's been one of those guys that we've talked about as a potential cut candidate for salary cap purposes. We could save a little bit with him. He was kind of on the bubble there. When Chenal walked, it made sense that Tranquill would be back, and he is back. He is taking a restructure. He restructured his deal a little bit, moved some money around, so he is going to be back in Kansas City. So For our starting linebackers, we're sitting pretty solid now. We've got Bolton obviously coming back, and we got Tranquil coming back. We do need to fill the Leo Chenal role because that was a very vital role, and he was really on the upward trajectory. So I do think we're going to need to find a third linebacker, and preferably somebody who is younger that can kind of develop and take that Tranquil role. Again, I wish we could have kept Chenal, but it just wasn't in the cards. He got more money somewhere else, and it was what it was. So, but Tranquil's coming back, so that's nice. That kind of helps solidify the linebacker position for the starters for now, which is good. And I believe there's one other move. What other move was it? I think that's it. But I did want to talk about another guy that was released that I've heard being thrown out a lot for the Chiefs, and that is, of course, our good old friend Sneed, L'Jarius Sneed. He was released in Tennessee. He got traded to Tennessee a couple years ago from the Chiefs. Of course, he had that great run with us, helped us win the Super Bowl. That 2020, the second Super Bowl we won on the back-to-back year, that defense was sensational, and he was the number one man. He locked you down no matter who you were. He was so good. Him and McDuffie and Watson, man, those guys were on fire that year. Absolutely on fire. We traded Sneed, of course, got some draft capital, moved off his contract, but since he went to Tennessee, he's dealt with some legal trouble, he's dealt with some injury issues, and it just never worked out. It was just a really bad trade for the Tennessee Titans. The Chiefs capitalized on that for sure. But he's been released. He's 29 years old. I do think they might bring Sneed back. Again, I think there's a little bit left in the tank there. I think there's a little bit of juice there still that he has, that he can still play a little bit. He knows the defense. He knows Spags. And there's a major void right now. There's a need for guys that know the system, that can play a little bit. And if he can play a little bit, I think it makes a lot of sense. If he's willing to come in, take a very team-friendly contract, kind of a prove-it contract, I think it's a really good fit. So we'll see what happens there. Again, we haven't signed him. That hasn't been, nothing's concrete there. But I've heard that thrown out there a lot. I do think that's an okay move to make. Again, I love Sneed. When Sneed was here, Sneed was the man. Sneed was fantastic. So we'll see what happens. But those are the moves. Those are the moves that we've made, and some rumors that I've heard already out there, kind of being speculated. We still have some things to fill. We have to get obviously the backup quarterback situation figured out. Cornerback still needs to get figured out more. We still have more moves to make there. We got the draft coming up. So there's going to be still more pieces moving here, but that's what I have for now. So thanks for watching, everybody, and have a good one.